Here's the Z4R. Here in the front, you can see the security bezel. It has a Kensington lock. Upon removing it, we have access to all the front ports. Up on top here, you see the front I/O panel. We're offering 2 front I/O panels just like we do on the Z4 6 and 8. It's actually the same front I/O panel. Depicted here is the premium. So it has 2 USB 3.1 Type A ports, and it has 3 USB-C 3.1 ports. Just below that, we have 2 2.5-inch drive bays. You pop the button, pulls right out, right? Over here, we just have a blank inserted, but that's where the second drive would go. As you're putting the bay back in, you actually just use the arm to secure it, and it goes back in. Right next to the 2 2.5-inch drive bays is a single 3.5-inch drive bay. Press the button, pull the arm, slides right out. So the 3.5-inch drive bay can obviously accommodate a single 3.5-inch drive. But we also have a separate bay that you can get. If you would like to have 2 more 2.5-inch drives, we have a bay for that. And that just slides right in, just like the 3.5-inch drive. Something to take note of is that when you put the drive bays back in, it won't close all the way if the arm is shut. The arm is actually engineered to help you center the drive and have it go in flush. So you open the drive and then use the arm itself to push in the bay, okay? Right next to that, it's hard to see, but there's 2 little LEDs on the top here and here, and those are your locator LEDs. So the locator LEDs can be triggered from the Z Central Connect command console. So think about it. If you had like 50 or 100 or 300, hopefully, of these installed in a data closet somewhere, and you needed to isolate just one of them so you could upgrade the memory or install a new hard drive, you would have a really difficult time finding that just one unit in your library of units, right? So what we did is that we have the locator LEDs that can be triggered, like I said, from the Z Central Connect command console. Those lights come on, you can go in your data closet, and you won't have any problem finding your specific product. Next to those, now this is something that's really cool because this is a first for HP. So we are offering redundant and aggregate power supplies. So we have a 675 watt power supply, and then right next to it we have a 675 watt power supply, right? It comes by default with just one. So if a customer wants redundancy, then they have the option to buy a second. And then if they want a really high-end graphics card like the RTX 5000, 6000, or 8000, then they would need to install the second power supply, and that would give them over 1,300 watts of power, which is what would be necessary to run those high-end graphics. So to remove one, you just click the button and pull it right out. How cool is that? We are also offering these AMO for the first time. So we haven't offered AMO power supplies before, but we want to enable people to upgrade the unit. You know, if they want to, if they need redundancy in the future, if they want to upgrade their graphics cards in the future, then we want to give them the ability to do that. Inserting them is just reverse of taking them out. So you just slide them right inside that bay and push in the arm. So that's the front panel. Let's take a look on the inside. Press the button, slide back the top panel. We now have access. So here are the bays that we were just talking about, the front I/O. This is the 3.5-inch, and here are your power supply bays. Back here, underneath this black cover, is our system board. Here's our heat sink. Underneath is your Xeon 2200 series W processors, up to 18 cores. We have 4 memory DIMM slots supporting DDR4 2933 memory, up to 256 gigabytes. And then here you can see one of the 2 M.2 SSD slots. The second one is accessible when you take off the single slot riser, which is where we're moving next. So you just pull up on the single slot riser. The single slot riser has a single by 16 PCIe slot. This comes standard with the unit, right? And then once you take it off, you can see the second M.2 slot right there. Putting it back on, you just slide it in. Line it up and push down. Above that, we have another optional bay. So this is what we call the dual slot riser. This is what is necessary if the customer needs double wide graphics capabilities. So if they're looking at an RTX 5000, 6000, or 8000, you're going to configure the dual slot riser. The dual slot riser is available via AMO and CTO. Before you pull out the dual slot riser, you do want to disconnect your power cables on the graphics card. Just like that. And we can pull it right out. And what do we have in here? We have a Quadro RTX 6000. That's awesome. So in the dual slot riser, just like it says, we have dual slots, right? So one, they're both physically by 16, but one is wired as by 8. To put it back in, you just line it up, push it down. And then we want to reconnect our graphics cards. So that's the Z4R. Really, really, really excited about this product.